Greetings once again. We are here at the Autodromo Nazionale Monza. It's going to be a fabulous battle out on the circuit as we prepare for the action and activity with all of the contenders battling away in close proximity. We're going to have a really exciting challenge for all of the drivers out here in the GT4 European Series, the first race of the weekend, and consequently as well, the first race of the season. I'm Jake Sanson, beside me Ben Constanduros. We're getting ourselves ready for this first hour of racing of the 2023 season.
And it's always incredibly exciting. We've got a decent track temperature, a decent air temperature out there. It has risen now to 20 degrees. They qualified in much cooler temperatures, so that will be a little bit of work for the teams and a bit of guesswork as to what they need to do with their tyre pressures coming into this one. A 1 hour race, a 2-driver race with a pit stop in the middle. And we will start this first one with the drivers that took part in qualifying 1. So for the likes of our Pro-Am category, that is the pro drivers that will start the race.
So we're going straight into the action. We've told you that it's going to be myself and Ben in the commentary box. Down in pit lane, Gemma Scott is going to be talking us through the action from the interviews. Let's head down to pit lane with Gemma Scott.
Robert, c'est super. Première course de l'année, première course de la saison, première position sur la grille de départ.
Ouais, c'est top. Je suis vraiment content. Déjà, bonjour à tous. Première course, Monza. Il fait beau, on est en pole. Notre Audi, elle marche super bien. Les pneus Pirelli, pareil. Benjamin a fait un super boulot. Moi, j'ai un peu raté ma qualif. Je fais 2. On visait tous les deux la première place, mais on est content, c'est de bon augure pour la course. Maintenant, on croise les doigts pour être sur le podium, sur ce magnifique podium de Monza.
Absolument. Bonne chance. Merci bien. And just a little translation for our English audience there, Robert, saying that obviously starting the season on pole is the best place for them to be. They're really happy with the setup of the Audi. They're really happy with the Pirelli tyres as well. It's a beautiful place here at Monza. The weather's looking great, and they're just pushing now to be on the podium.
Thanks, Gemma. Great to hear from the team Speed Car Audi pairing. We obviously heard there from Robert Consani because it is Benjamin Lariche that is going to be starting the race here. Louis Meric in the Mirage Aston Martin, the silver car pairing. It's silvers 1, 2 and 3, of course. The first Pro-Am is Grégory Gilbert in the Santalok Audi number 42. That will start from 4th position on the starting grid. Gael Castelli is the CSA Racing Audi that is the 3rd silver car in that mix. But it's been Audi and Aston Martin all the way in the first few cars, with the elite McLarens in 7th and 8th.
Yeah, it looks as though some of the other marques slightly struggling on this particular layout of circuit. The cars are, in theory, balance of performance so that there is no single manufacturer that has an advantage across the season. But of course that does mean that some cars will be better in slipperier circuits like this, where top speed is very important, versus fiddlier circuits. And so we have seen the Audi and the Aston Martin looking really, really good in qualifying, but racing is very different and quite chaotic at times.
Christophe, on est là sur le deuxième grille de départ, le deuxième ligne. Et là, à Santalok, on a une super histoire avec le GT4 et l'histoire de GT.
Bien sûr, oui, c'est une belle histoire effectivement de Santalok avec le GT. Grégory était là au tout début, il a d'ailleurs fait sa première course ici en GT3, il a fait P2. Donc c'est une belle histoire qui continue. Être avec Grégory Gilbert, un des meilleurs pilotes pro de la grille, c'est vraiment un honneur. Aujourd'hui, il a qualifié la voiture en pôle de la catégorie, donc va falloir. La course, ça dure 1 heure et on va faire un petit Julien Febro. Rendez-vous au premier virage.
Merci bien, Christophe. Oui, bonne course. Christophe just saying there that Gregory's already had a fantastic start to the season here. Great qualifying sessions, great racing here at Monza. And they said, meet us at the first corner. So we'll see what's happening into that first turn.
Christophe Hamon that we heard from there. And they are obviously the class leaders in the Pro-Am category at this point. Meet us in turn 1, they say. Interesting. I wonder how well they'll go.
Well, we have seen, and we do know how tight turn 1 can be. Remember, this is a rolling start, which means you tend to have everybody in the same pack. You don't really tend to have the variety that you might get from a standing start, and so they will all be funneling and tunneling down into turn 1, and we'll need to try and keep it as clean as possible. But we have 48 cars starting. Just to update you on the Porsches that we saw having quite a nasty accident in our qualifying session. Both Ivan Jacoma and Hendrik still were taken to the medical centre and checked over. Unfortunately, though, their cars are both write-off. So W&S Motorsport, who wrote off 2 cars on Thursday, would you believe? That was their spare chassis. They wrote that off as well. They have no more cars left. It looks like they're packing up and going home. Whereas Ivan Jacoma's Century Porsche team, they will use a new chassis, or their spare chassis, in tomorrow's race, but they are not racing today because they haven't been able to get that car to us. They're only from Turin, so it's pretty easy to get here.
Konstantin Lachnauer is down on the grid with Gemma Scott.
So that's good.
Konstantin, we were just laughing. This is your 3rd season or 4th season?
So this is 1st season, so happy to be back. I mean, we've got a huge grid this year, like we did last year. So for today, yeah, happy to be starting in this position. It's all to play for. The battle's going to be fierce, that's for sure. I mean, it's exciting. It's exciting for everyone. Pressure, that's for sure. Our levels are pretty high. I mean, the team's done an amazing job. Our Aston Martin Vantage GT4 has been working very well the whole weekend, and so yeah, just looking forward to the race and also to the race tomorrow.
It's great to see so many Aston Martins on the grid as well.
Yeah, it's where I think 14 cars, the most represented manufacturer, which is very important for the British constructor, and so yeah, it proves that Astons are here to win, and hopefully we'll make it happen.
Have a great race. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
3rd season for Konstantin. How about these, though? The McLaren Arturas, the debut for this car in the GT4 European Championship, and also for the team as well from Elite Motorsport. Jack Mitchell and Michael Creese going to be taking 7th on the grid.
I hope that they've made that car a little bit more comfortable for Michael, because we saw 2 spins in Q2 for Michael Creese, and you know, this is a 2-driver race, so however good Jack Mitchell does at the start of this race, Michael Creese still needs to get it to the end, and if it's not comfortable and spinning a lot, then it could be a bit of a challenge. But the McLarens have done really well up there on rows 4 and 5 respectively, with another Santalok car breathing down their neck.
We saw the other McLaren there, 2 prolific karting stars, Josh Rattigan, a former British karting sensation in the British Championships, along with Tom Emsen, the man who is going to be doing the other Daytona 24 Hours later this year. That's the karting version over at Daytona Milton Keynes. Lonnie Martin getting himself ready to battle away from 10th on the starting grid alongside Anthony Beltoise, who's obviously had a very busy day at the office so far.
Oh, won, didn't he?
He did. He took the victory in the GT2 race earlier on today. There is Antoine Leclerc in the Alpine. He's obviously sharing that car with Loic Villigière in the Code Racing Development Squad. This car's got good potential over the course of 2023. Here's the young man from Dubai, Jamie Day, along with his teammate Van der Steur in the Mirage Aston. This is a talent you want to watch for. You may not have heard much about Jamie Day yet if you're a car racing fan, but I promise you, you will definitely see some fireworks from this boy.
A reminder that we will have a 1-hour race with a pit stop window in the middle, and the pit stops are timed from pit in to pit out. You do have the ability to play what's known as a joker, so if you do go within a second under, you can play that joker and not be penalised, but you only have 1 joker a weekend across 2 races. So if you do it twice, then you'll get penalised tomorrow. The idea obviously is not to go under that set time. But we do see plenty of teams and drivers getting that slightly wrong, because as you said in the GT2 race, Jake, it's difficult to know exactly when to release the car, because the car is then going to go 50 kilometers an hour down, or is it 80 kilometers an hour, I think here? No, 50 kilometers an hour, down to the pit lane out, where that time stops.
You really do have to get that practice down pat, because in race trim, you don't get any second chances. But we'll have to see which team is going to get the best of that come the first GT4 European Series race of 2023. And as we picked up on earlier, it is a very busy calendar in the GT4 European Series for 2023. A very exciting time for the championship. A lot of exciting races to come. And it's going to be a very busy day at the office. Any GT4 car that meets homologation is able to race in this category, but obviously it's really going to be a fantastic chance. Here we go with the starting grid. It is an Audi and an Aston Martin. Speed car versus Mirage on the front row of the starting grid. CSA Audi in third position, the Santalok Audi alongside the leader in Pro-Am. Racing Spirit of Le Mans Aston versus the Pro Sport Aston. Rayrick versus Bachmann off the start. Then the elite McLarens in their new Arturas, the Pro-Am second car and the silver sixth car. Beltoise in the Santalok Junior car alongside Martin in the full motorsport Audi. And then the Antoine Leclerc Alpine alongside Jamie Day in the Mirage Aston Martin. De Fulgencio Ferrara is alongside Stegman, that is BCMC versus Team Spirit. The X-Swift Toyota alongside the Hofer Bonk BMW. Then the V8 Chevrolet in 17th alongside the Autosport LS Group Alpine. And then rounding out the top 20, we have the Santalok Junior Audi. Silver 14th, silver 15th is beside them, the first of the Boddisson Automotive BMWs. NM Racing Mercedes versus Newbridge Aston Martin. The full motorsport Audi alongside the NM Racing Mercedes. And Bramczyk versus Valva. Then the Autosport Alpine of Hurgon alongside the Allied Racing Porsche of Nathan Schaap. The Armada Racing Mercedes alongside the AGS Aston Martin. And then rounding out the top 30, Akhil Rabindra in the Racing Spirit of Le Mans Aston alongside the Allied Racing of Oscar Christensen. NM versus Mirage, Mercedes versus Aston Martin, AGS Aston versus GBA Aston as they fill the 17th row. Then the Red Sport Porsche alongside the Code Racing Alpine, the Overdrive Porsche from Bulgaria alongside the JSB Aston Martin of the Breeches, then AVR Avatar Porsche versus GPA Aston Martin, the third in the AM category. The Boddisson Automotive BMW beside the W&D Racing BMW. Then the AGS Event Aston Martin alongside the Team Sorg Rennsport Porsche. Then it is the Speed Car Audi that is sixth in the AM category alongside its rival, the Chazelle Technology Alpine. And finally, the Overdrive Porsche alongside the East Side Mercedes. 48 cars will take the start, and it's going to be a very intense hour of racing here at Monza.
Two other things to note. The 68 car of Julien Lambert, he will not be sharing with Romano Ricci, so he is on his own in that car. Romano damaging himself in the paddock after pre-practice. So unfortunately, Julien Lambert's got to do it all on his own. We did also have Ruben de la Sarte, the number 5 Aston Martin, dropping 3 places after blocking in qualifying. So that is why Ruben de la Sarte's Aston sits 32nd rather than 29th.
A busy calendar for the GT4 European Series. After Monza, we head to Paul Ricard on the first weekend of June, then to Spa-Francorchamps on the weekend of the 24 hours, and then Misano on the third weekend of July, followed by Hockenheim on the first weekend of September, and then Barcelona on the 30th of September and 1st of October. And then, of course, we have the fabulous 6-hour race that doesn't count towards the series, but it's definitely a great end-of-season hurrah in Italy on the final weekend of October at Vallelunga.
Yeah, so effectively supporting all the endurance rounds, but not coming to the Nürburgring on the 30th of July, and instead going to Hockenheim and Misano. They've always been going to Misano. That's been their kind of their one trip to the sprint series of SRO. But just look at this field. There was that wonderful photo of all the GT3 cars parked up on the start-finishing line last night. But this is equally spectacular, absolutely filling the track between Parabolica and Ascari.
Yeah, these GT4 cars really do look spectacular, and it's going to be a very thrilling race. We're going to see so many different battles, inter-class, inter-brand, inter-style of drivers. It's going to be a really intriguing battle. And GT4 Europe is about to get underway as they come off the final turn. Lariche and Merrick in the Speed Car Audi and the Mirage Aston Martin. And we're going to go into unfamiliar territory into the 2023 season as we find out who is going to get the best of this off the start. Rolling start, of course, as they come off the Parabolica and onto the main straight. And it's Speed Car versus Mirage, Audi versus Aston Martin to the first corner. And we're going to have a real plethora of Audi versus Aston Martin in the top 10, joined as they are by the 2 elite McLaren Arturas, and then everybody else from Alpine, Mercedes, Chevrolet, BMW and Porsche giving chase. This is going to be a fabulous run to the first corner. The engine revs will rise. We'll wait for the lights to go to green, and when we do, we'll be racing for the first time in the GT4 European Series 2023. Avanti! And off we go. A great start from the Speed Car Audi, no problems at all, but they're already going to have pressure from Gael Castelli in the CSA Audi that splits the front row men, and Castelli trying to come around the outside and outbrake the Speed Car Audi into the first corner. A little bit of snaking under braking, but it's Audi 1-2. Brilliant start from Gael Castelli into second position as the rest of the field work their way through. Couple of drivers skipping over the Rettifilio, couple of drivers going on 2 wheels as they head over the curbs.
Very good start, though. It looks like most people actually kept it on the proper track as well. So really well behaved from all of these drivers. We didn't see that earlier on in the Clio race, did we? But this is fantastic. Even in the 13-car GT2 race, they tripped over each other. But as they come to the second chicane, it's not been a very good start for the Bachmanns. That Aston Martin from Pro Sport dropping a few positions. Ultimately, Andreas just not very aggressive at the start and wasn't tucked under the rear wing, of the car in front.
Couple of drivers kicking up the dust on the exit of the Variante della Roggia, but as they come through Lesmo 1 and Lesmo 2, we are starting to settle into a nice flow and a nice rhythm now. So out in front, no problems at all for Benjamin Lariche. He holds on in the speed car rally, but Gael Castelli has got in front of Louis Merrick's Mirage Aston, and a little bit of a run wide there from one of the Porsches on the exit of the second Lesmo. Managing to get back into the draft again though, so a little bit of a hiccup there. Couldn't quite make out which of the two light blue Porsches that was. We'll have to try and work it out. And look, Andreas Bachmann really struggling to get off the line there in the Aston Martin and really struggling for washout in the Variante Ascari. He was lucky to keep that pointing in the right direction.
Tyre warm-up, brake warm-up still happening for these cars. They do need to be careful on the first couple of laps, not to muller the curbs too much, because you can, if your tyres aren't up to pressure and temperature, you can damage them, and that damage will only come to the fore much later on in the race, as the 77 that's the second of the McLarens, or was the second of the McLarens, losing a position to Anthony Beltoise in the 14, or now getting in the slipstream to try and repass. Plenty of this going on. It has been an awful start, actually, hasn't it, for Bachmann? Maybe 6 or 7 places lost.
And now going wheel to wheel with the Fulgencio Fari as they come down to the main straight. Ratican trying again to pick up the pace, but he's going to lose out to the second speed car Audi, which loses the brakes completely and into the back of Beltoise.
Just caught the bumps there, and Beltoise's car is out. The rear left suspension is broken and really crabbing now. He needs to try and find a way to park that up without compromising. And there's a Mercedes also damaged. One of the NM Racing Mercedes is further back, had contact. Now, why did Anthony carry on? It was a perfect place to park there, and he's not going to drag that any further.
Look, Anthony, you're never going to get that back to the pits. It's the first corner at Monza, and that's going to take you 5 minutes minimum to get back to the pits. Your race is over, mate. I'm sorry. As much as you want to keep going. Now that is Bachmann trying to hang on in front of the number 4 that went a little bit wide at turn 1. That is Di Fulgencio Fari. That's who they're currently battling with. There's a little bit of carbon fiber being kicked up, and the NM Mercedes going off again on the next chicane. There is Beltoise's car parked up and done.
Yeah, that's good. He's found an access point, so fantastic work from Anthony to keep the racing going, because we know very well in GT4 that safety cars do come out often, and they breed safety cars. So we are continuing with green flag. There is a yellow flag just covering off the recovery of his car. The NM Racing car that was also damaged was Philip Vava, and it looked as though Romain Monti, who for this year is also in a Mercedes, and the Armada Racing Mercedes, was also delayed. So whilst we were focusing on the first incident, there was a meeting of 2 Mercedes further back.
So 2 incidents in 1 corner. The start and turn 1 are currently under investigation. So we'll obviously have a look to see if there's a couple of cars that may end up coming a cropper there. But obviously a very intriguing battle. But we are still green, thanks to Antoine Beltoise managing to pull his car off in a safe position. We can go sector 1 yellow, but we are still under racing conditions. So there's no overtaking into turn 1.
No, it won't be turn 1. It's sector 1, but it'll be turn 3, I think, where he pulled off.
So that'll be about nowish, essentially. So we'll see if they can continue. There is the yellow flags, the car, Anthony Beltoise. There it is, off to the left. So there's no overtaking in the Curva Grande. But then, obviously, on the run to Della Roggia, you can just about tidy it up. So there is Bachmann in front of Di Fulgencio Fari, Day, Botti, Schrey, and Berke-Bessler.
Now we've got yellow flags even into the second chicane. Not quite sure why that would be. Maybe Romain Monti's parked up there.
Well, that's Vava in the pits, and there's the car that caused the incident, the speed car Audi. That's the second of the speed car Audis, of course. That is the car that basically lost it altogether. I think that's Fabien Bory that went off there. I'll double check, but there is the car parked up. That is the second of the NM Mercedes. And up the inside, trying to make the move, that is Fulgencio Fari. That's going to be brave if you're going to make that work. And Andreas Bachmann just about holds on to it, but I don't think he's going to be the only one to pick up a move, because that is the Mirage Aston Martin of Jamie Day. He gets the run as well, and I have a feeling that Antoine Potti is going to see that as an opportunity to get by as well. We've got the Podium Automotive BMW in the back of that little tail as well. So Bachmann leads them through. Jamie Day is in behind. They just about get through without too much drama. And there's a proper washout from the Fulgencio Fare in the Mercedes.
Problem with Andreas is he's defending so hard that he's then not got the grip in the corners. He was offline all the way under the hill. Oh, Mercedes with a big lockup. That's a 78 car. The first of the two that Jack Mitchell maybe being caught out by the Aston Martin ahead, braking earlier. So lucky not to cause any contact, but a big moment for Jack.
Yeah, Jack Mitchell in the new McLaren Artura missing the braking point for the Parabolica. And here we go, wheel to wheel. That's the Chevrolet dueling it out there. That is Martin. So it was Martin who went into the back. My apologies, it was Martin in the other speed car Audi. But they're now going wheel to wheel there with Kenny Hermans in the V8 Racing Chevrolet.
Yeah, so that's a full motorsport car. Full motorsport and speed car, the two cars that are very bright. And Bachmann is defending for his life here. It is a long race, Andreas. We've got 53 minutes still remaining. It's going to be very hard work if you want to continue to get your elbows out quite like that.
Antoine Potti in the Toyota very nearly cannoning into the back bumper of the Aston Martin there. And then he almost had a tough job again trying to keep the other Aston Martin Virage car of Jamie Day at bay. The Alpine is kind of in no man's land there. That's Antoine Leclerc. It is now in front of Jack Mitchell. Mitchell has dropped back behind. Jamie Day has got past Bachmann, and now so has Potti, I think, pushing those tyres a little bit too hard. Andreas Bachmann may have a problem developing.
Well, no, I just think he's just completely unsettled. He's been offline, he's been defending, he's been driving, looking in his rearview mirrors, basically since the start of the race, having not made a great start, and he just actually needs to take a big deep breath, settle down and try and focus on being on the right part of the circuit.
Oh, Mitchell's in trouble
for the McLaren.
Yeah, Mitchell's in trouble. He is dropping, and I'm afraid that is Jack Mitchell and Michael Creese essentially out of the race before Creese even gets a chance in the car.
So was that then a braking problem from the McLaren that we saw into Parabolica, and he put his foot on the brake, it didn't slow down, so he did a very good job of not cannoning into the back. Not been a very good lap here for Benjamin Lariche, who's really now under pressure at the lead of the race.
We've got three Audis battling away from three different teams because Gregoire Gilbert has managed to get into third position past Louis Merrick. And so now we've got this three-pronged attack from the three Audi cars. Speed car, CSA Racing and Santalok Jr. And that car has been parked on the track. That is going to trigger a safety car if they can't get it moved. So it's going to be Gael Castelli trying to get the lead before we get to that point. Benjamin Lariche pulls across on Castelli. They get down to the braking zone. It's Audi 1, 2, 3, but it's three different teams. We've got yellows in sector 3, of course, because of the stationary McLaren. The car number 46 has had to take to the escape road at turn 1 as well on that lap. So problems there for the 46 of Martin. He's the one who caused the initial contact, of course, on the way down between him and Anthony Beltoise. But these Audis are dueling away big style. Can that McLaren get moved? Because that's the real big problem at the moment. If that Audi cannot move, then we are going to go under safety car here. It is on the inside line. It could maybe be covered with double-waved yellows at a push, but it is sort of towards the braking zone. I think they're trying to cover it with double-waved yellows if possible, in the hope that the McLaren can at least get moving.
Well, they've been monitoring the situation because what they really don't want to do is throw a safety car, because then you have to go through the full course yellow procedure as well to get us back to race green flag racing. And as I said earlier, they then cause more incidents. So what they'll be looking at is whether he can just creep around and move a little bit. He hasn't been able to move yet, but he also hasn't got out the car, which is the signal to say, I'm done. And that's very clear in the regulations this year. If you can't do anything, then you need to, now full course yellow boards are out. Full course yellow is going to be in 10 seconds. And there we go, we slow down.
So there we go, full course yellow is called. And I think that's the, oh my goodness, red flags, big accident.
That is, we see this so often, whereby when a full course yellow is called, there is a system whereby some teams can hear that call directly from race control. Others have to have it relayed through a team. And if the team don't do it, some cars slow down while others barrel in at full speed. And we saw that once or twice last year, and looks like it might have happened again.
The reason I said red flag was because the marshal was waving one, so I assumed that means that we were going red flags, but it's still officially full course yellow at the moment. But yeah, big accident on the approach to Variante Ascari, but there was a marshal waving a red flag on that point, so whether he knows something we don't.
He's
rogue marshal, yeah, waving a red flag. clearly he saw the accident and thought, yeah, there's no way this race is continuing, I'll wave the red flag. Unfortunately, it's not up to him. It's up to race direction. It's up to Alan Adam.
I'm amazed that that full motorsport Audi is still running in the condition that it's in. It's obviously not damaged too much cooling at the front of the car. It looks pretty ugly. And for sure, there is lots of damaged panels, but at the moment, at least, in racing conditions, he's been okay in running at full speed. Of course, now we're at a reduced speed. The cooling is reduced, and maybe he'll start seeing a few issues on his dashboard.
Well, the Rogue Marshal has obviously not got the call quite right yet, because we're still under full course yellows. And now they're coming onto the main straight. There are the full course yellow boards and the yellow flags all around the course. And that's obviously so that we can assess the situation. Now, we may well go red flags, because obviously big accident on the approach to the Variante Ascari chicane, and there's a lot of debris, so we'll obviously have to ascertain the situation, but before we make that decision.
And it's also kind of almost underground, because that's the part of the circuit that goes under the old banking, so you don't really have any access to the left and the and the right. It's a high bank. You can't simply kind of crane something off the circuit there, because the access roads are barely a bike width around that particular part of the circuit. So a bit of a challenge. What we'll see though is we'll have the full course yellow, and then we will go to safety car to bunch the cars up, and also we'll be able to control the pace of those cars. We'll get them up to speed. The safety car goes faster and faster. That allows tyres and brakes to warm up, and then we go back to green flag running.
Now, the three cars that were involved in that incident were Luke Ibanez in the Mercedes NM number 15, Lawrence Stegman in the Team Spirit Racing Aston, and the Newbridge Aston Martin of Alex Denning, the Irishman. So those three were involved in that.
Well, Ibanez was the Mercedes that had damage to its rear, so you can assume that he did nothing wrong apart from slow down when it said full course yellow. Now, of course, there are different calls. You get full course yellow in 10 seconds, and then full course yellow.
Yep.
So you're prepared for the full course yellow, and then you must, at that point of the 10 seconds that being elapsed, be at the speed of 80 kilometers an hour, which is dictated. If you react full course yellow in 10 seconds at that point and slow down, then you are at fault, because you're not supposed to have slowed down dramatically. And if the message has not been relayed correctly by your team, that can cause a bit of an issue. But more likely, as we saw last year a couple of times, that these new teams, Newbridge for instance, the British team, not been in this championship before, may not have the system in place or the knowledge in place as to how to relay. And we are now hearing from race control that we are going to go red flag.
Yes, indeed. So a big difficulty then as we go red flags at this point. So 46 minutes and 56 seconds will remain in the race, but we are now under red flags. So that marshal was clairvoyant, it seems.
And really, there's just no access to clear up this incident under the bridge. For most of the circuit with runoff areas, with grass, that's the one point that really pinches and because it's going under a tunnel.
Right, there is a 10-second time penalty that's going to be added at the pit stop for the number 46 crew.
Which is the car that
went
into the back of Anthony Beltoise.
Yep, that's Lonnie Martin. So obviously for causing the incident between himself and Anthony Beltoise, they're going to take a 10-second penalty at the pit stop. But obviously you can't have a race as such with the debris that we've got on the circuit between the Lesmos and the Variante Ascari. So they've taken the decision to stop the race. Now, what the procedure is going to be in this particular incident, then I would have guessed that the cars will come down pit lane and probably stop in pit road, I would have thought. And then obviously the marshals and officials will clear the circuit as quickly as possible, and then we'll be able to get underway when the incident is cleared. This is the final on-track activity for the day here in Monza, so this race will go to its conclusion and then there will be nothing else on track to run. But we're obviously running a little behind schedule as it is, but then we're also going to be delayed by this red flag as the time has stopped.
I don't know if Monza has curfews like we have in other parts of the world, that you can't race after a certain
Well, they've got headlights.
Certain time. Oh no, the cars can race, but it's more of a sound issue.
Ah, very true.
Certainly somewhere like Silverstone, you can't go racing after 6 o'clock unless you've got special dispensation. So that's when timetables start getting squidged around. Also, our race director for GT4 is also the race director for the sim race that's happening later, and having an overlap which was already forecast to happen, will make it quite difficult to be a race director of both events.
Yes, indeed. Do we know any race directors? Any race directors
Right.
who are able to hang out and get over to the esports arena? So yes, they will now line up on the pit straight, in fact, in race order. So they obviously line up on the main straight. Here come the rest of the cars. So we're going to have a look back over the best bits of the build-up to this race, the first 14 minutes. We've been told by race control that despite the severity of the incident, all drivers appear to be okay. Here's the race start, and this is Lariche versus Castelli. Watch Castelli tucked up behind Ben Lariche. It's a really good situation for all of the contenders in the start. We had actually a really good start on the whole from the GT4 European Series. A couple of drivers right off the road there, as you can see, though, so that's why the start is under investigation, because you had a couple of cars actually pull off the white line. They have to stay on the road. And look in the background, we've got 1, 2, possibly 3 cars completely off the road there at that point. Gael Castelli running in behind Benjamin Lariche, and it's in the middle of the pack we want to be focusing here, because there's a couple of moments, but you know what? That's about as tiny a start as you can get.
Yeah, in terms of cars running off circuit at the first chicane, they think with 1 or 2 at the very, very back. We'll see from this drone, but incredible amount of discipline from these drivers. 1, 2 cars early doors, 3 cars early doors, but a lot of them really making the effort to get around both the sausages, and that's really credible.
So a few cars having to decide on the last minute to take avoiding action, but only about 5. And then, of course, we had this moment, Lonnie Martins, bang! Not a lot Anthony Beltoise can do about that. The Audi continues in the speed car brigade, but Anthony Beltoise's race is already over. You can see the left rear damage.
Yeah, and what was amazing is he didn't even really slow down. He was instantly like, right, I'm continuing. That's the Aston Martin that at the same time had made contact with another Mercedes, sorry, NM Racing contact, and carries on.
And then we got this. That was a big clunk from Jamie Day to try and get past Andreas Bachmann. I think that was just impatience from Jamie Day more than anything else. He wanted
this
to
was
get
when
through.
he got past, right?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
And then obviously we had the stationary McLaren. Now look in the background. Bang, bang, bang. It's Alex Denning that takes the big hit. But we are told that everybody is okay.
Yeah, you're right about that red flag. That Marshall can instantly assume, didn't he?
He just kind of looked at it and went, okay, there's cars right in front of me, smoking and in bits. I think that's a red flag, so I'm going to wave a red flag. But unfortunately, mate, you got to wait till the race direction tells you that that's what's going to happen. Now, that it is what has happened. But yeah, I think Mystic Meg has taken up a job as a marshal. That was instant when that car hit the wall. They went straight for the red flag. But it wasn't red flag just then.
So 15 minutes of racing that we've had so far. We'd have been within 10 minutes of the driver changing procedure to get the pro drivers in the Pro-Am category out and put the Am drivers in, and obviously for the other categories swap to the same categorization. I would not be surprised if we reduce the length of the rest of the race and change the pit stop window. In terms of the pit stop, the pit lane delta time is 30 seconds. And so the minimum driver time is the delta plus 50. So basically 80 seconds they would need to be pit in to pit out. So keep an eye when we do go pit stops. Anybody who goes below the 1 minute 20 mark, if you go 1 minute 19, then you can throw a joker, you don't get penalised. If you go anything below that, even by 1/10 of a second, you can't use a joker and you do get penalised, and pretty heavily. And as I said in qualifying, race control at the start of the season really like to set a precedent and penalise heavily so that the rest of the season everyone behaves themselves. That's the idea anyway. And so anybody who, or any team, and especially these younger teams, these less experienced teams with all these complicated regulations, you know, when you come racing, it's not just, oh, one weekend we're in British GT, the next weekend we're in French GT, the next weekend we're in European. They all have incredibly different regulations, different little things that you need to be completely across, because if you're not, then that's a penalty.
So we have got ourselves a red flag situation. So down in pit lane, Rory van der Stoyer has been watching the progress of his teammate Jamie Day in the Mirage Racing, and he is with Gemma Scott down in pit lane. Let's see what he has to say.
Rory, it's great to have you over here in Europe with us, normally racing in IMSA. Your first race with GT4. It's not the ideal start at the moment being under a red flag, but certainly so many cars. It's hard work, right?
Yeah, I've never raced in a series with this many cars in one category. Jamie's doing a great job out there. He started 12th and now we're up to 8th. The cars in the front packer took a pretty good gap on us, but this red flag's going to put everybody back together, and I'm excited to see how we do when we restart and how Jamie does.
But going into that first corner, seeing 52 cars, I think it is, on the grid, ploughing into that corner, I sit there biting my nails. What's it like for a driver?
You kind of just make sure that you do not hit someone, because it is a long race and you don't want damage on the first corner, because you can't win in the first corner, but your car can be severely damaged. So you kind of just want to be relaxed, but also at the same time not be too timid so everybody passes you.
And here for the restart, how difficult is that going to be?
I think the field's spread out where it should be, and a single file, so I think it will be a little cleaner and a bit easier.
Well, have a great race. Thanks a lot, Rory.
Thank you.
Thank you to Rory, and good to see that Jamie Day, there is the number 6 Mirage Aston. He's been putting some very strong moves in.
And Rory mentioned not picking up damage.
Yeah.
We did see a slow-mo where, unfortunately, Jamie has picked up some damage. How much, we don't know, but certainly when you've got steering lock on and you make contact with the door of another car, you do tend to at least do a little bit of steering damage.
I mean, what's damage between friends? You know, if he can still turn left and right, he probably isn't going to see it that way, is he? So, could be interesting. Love these drone shots. This is now no longer GT4 European Series. This is now a Hollywood movie shot. I absolutely love the drone footage, and the pilot's doing a fantastic job getting us as close to the action as we possibly can get. And under red flags, you really can get the level of detail. This looks like my Hot Wheels collection from when I was a kid.
Let's just recap on what we've seen so far. Romain Monti in the Mercedes for this year, because he was a Toyota driver last year, making contact with Vava, the 16. So those two Mercedes went out at the same corner that we saw Anthony Beltoise and Martins make contact with each other. Anthony Beltoise out of the race. Martins will serve a 10-second extra penalty in the pit, so he has to stay for an extra 10 seconds stationary. And then we had Jack Mitchell, who had this kind of a weird moment at Parabolica where the car didn't really want to slow down, but then the car ground to a halt coming into Ascari the lap after. So the assumption was there was a brake issue, but then a brake issue wouldn't stop you dead on the track. You would be able to pull off and find a place to park. So something else going on with that McLaren. And of course, when we had the full course yellow called, it does look as though somehow Luc Ibanez, Alex Denning, and Stegman have got together under the tunnel, going under the banking here at Monza. And that's the reason why we're under red flag conditions as we clean up those 3 cars. We haven't actually seen the 18, have we? We've seen Ibanez, which is the Mercedes with rear right damage, and Denning had some pretty decent amount of damage, but we haven't seen the 18 Aston Martin.
Well, there is the number 45 Audi, and Roman Wozniak is the sister driver in that particular car. Gemma Scott has found him.
Roman, we were just chatting about the weekend in general, and you were saying you've come into this weekend with some technical difficulties throughout the free practice session and into the qualifying session, but you've turned things around now, started the race in 24th, brought it up into the teens there as well.
Yeah, for sure, this is the start didn't start like we want. We had many problems with the car during the private practice and also in the free practice. So we start the weekend this morning on the quali. For now, yeah, we start 7 on the Pro-Am, and now we are 3rd. So yeah, now is a red flag. So we're gonna stay. We hope to stay there, and we will see in the second seat what we can do. But yeah, we are happy for now.
Keeping it out of trouble keeps it on the podium, at least that way. Can you just tell us what those technical difficulties were that you've had with the car? A bit more information?
It was many things we worked with the team during these 2 days. We're looking for this technical problem. We found only this morning we have the fuel problem. So we changed many things on the car during all these 2 days, and we found the solution yesterday. So yeah, we are happy to be on the track and run a good car now.
And now you think it's set for the season. Maintenant, pour la saison, on peut faire le dernier phrase en français pour les Françaises.
Oui, non, je pense que pour la saison, là, on a essuyé pas mal de soucis. Donc maintenant, la voiture, ils la connaissent par cœur. Non, il n'y a pas de souci, on est content. Et puis, à la prochaine.
Merci bien, bon courage. Merci, Romain. Romain just saying that now he thinks for the rest of the season they've discovered the main problems that they've had, and that puts them in a best place going forward.
Thanks, Gemma. Good to hear from Roman Wozniak. As you can see, quite a lot of work going on just before the Variante Ascari. Just before the bridge, actually, where the Monza-Napolis Oval continues. A lot of hard work going on to clear up the wreckage of the cars of Stegman, Ibanez and Denning, the 3 cars that were involved in the incident on the run-up to Variante Ascari. As you mentioned, we didn't actually see one of those 3 cars. We saw Denning in the Aston Martin and we saw Ibanez in the Mercedes, but we didn't really see what happened to Stegman in his Aston Martin.
Well, we might, if we stay with this shot, see what's left of the cars.
That's very true.
The top left-hand corner where the bridge is kind of obstructing our view, that's where Alex Denning's Aston Martin ended up, and actually doesn't look like that part of the barrier is too badly damaged, which is great news. It means we don't have to be starting to fix that, but he has taken a decent chunk out of the front right corner of that car. So front right corner, interestingly, where's that? Because he's bounced off the Mercedes and into the wall, perhaps. So front left and front right damage.
Yep.
Not much fun for Newbridge, because you know, when you hit a stationary vehicle, well, not stationary, but slow vehicle, that doesn't look too bad. That's the other Aston Martin, and that looked like, certainly from that side.
Yeah, that was Stegman's car, wasn't it?
Yeah, it didn't look too broken. So that's positive news, because of course we still have a second race. Tomorrow lunchtime is the due date of our second encounter, where the AM drivers will start and then the pro drivers take over. And it's a precursor to the 24 hours. Now we've got a driver out of the car. Seems to be a little confused, a bit frustrated. We are actually under parc ferme conditions right now.
Yes, you're not supposed to be getting out of the car at all.
Well, you certainly shouldn't be picking up a phone. Is that a phone being offered to him, or water? Maybe it's water.
Well, we better hope that it's water. Yeah, you know you're not allowed to do that, don't you, says the man beside him. I'm just giving him some water. His drinks bottle has failed. I don't care. There are regulations, and, well, he seems to be going for it. That's the Spirit of Le Mans car.
It's like a Rabindra who's having some water. But that is one of the race officials alongside him. So there was certainly a bit of caution as to whether that was allowed, and the fact that it's being done under the eyes of effectively race control means that it was obviously approved.
So there is the number 18 car of Stegman's car. I think we're about to see the remains of the Ibanez Mercedes. I kind of want to stick with this because obviously that will see the condition of the 3rd car. We know that the number 27 Denning's car is very much a write-off. Stegman's Aston, as you mentioned, I think that's okay. I think that could probably get started again. That, however, that looks pretty mullered.
On that left rear, yeah, I think the rest of the car should be too bad, but I'm not quite sure how you repair that rear end. That's a real shame for NM Race. Luca Ibanez really desperate to get a good year under his belt after a difficult year last year.
Well, Gemma Scott has found Davide Meloni down on the pit lane.
David, currently battling for P3 within your class, I believe, within the AM category.
Yes, I just try to stay out of the trouble in my stint, and let's see what we can do from there.
I think that's the objective of the whole grid at the moment. Stay out of trouble. There's so many of you out there.
Yes, of course, especially it is the first race of the season, so everyone wants to do well, and yeah, that's it.
Is this circuit one that you enjoy racing on, Monza?
I never raced at Monza before. It's my first ever season in GT cars, so we are here just to enjoy and yes.
Thank you very much. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
10 minutes to restart. Parc Ferme is open, so that tells us a little bit more about the update for the start of racing once again. And obviously, if you've only just joined us, we are under red flag conditions in the GT4 European Series Race 1 of 2023. after an incident involving Denning, Ibanez and Stegman on the run up to the Variante Ascari chicane. So it's been a bit of a tricky one, and we've still got 46 minutes and 56 seconds to go.
I'm interested to see that it looks as though teams have been allowed onto the grid, because this should be parc fermé conditions and only the drivers allowed with their cars. But now we have seen quite a few teams down there, presumably being let onto the circuit by race officials. So a little change because we've got such a long period.
I wondered as well, is this a trigger because Victor Weyrick was obviously seen given a bottle of water, and they said, well, they allowed him to come and have something.
Yeah.
God, that means we're all allowed, surely. So, oh, well, okay, I suppose if you can have a bottle of water.
Was it Matthias Ekstrom who was given a bottle of water at the end of a DTM race, but it was a litre that was poured onto him?
That's right.
And it made them over the weight.
That's
whereas
right.
he was actually running underweight. His now late father coming up with that little ploy.
Yes,
presumably not something that they had planned before the start of the race, but it did work. Cover him in a litre of water. A litre of water is a kilo, and if you're only half a kilo under, then it works for you.
Yes, indeed. So a very interesting situation then on the starting line here at Monza for the GT4 European Series first race.
You should try it. Weigh yourself.
Yes.
Drink a bottle of water.
Yep.
And then weigh yourself again. And it actually does make a difference. And as someone who knows karting for many years, you'll know that that's one of the tricks.
Indeed. Well, the thing is, Ben, you said weigh yourself, and I just wanted to cry in the corner. So I don't think I'll try that anytime soon.
It is remarkable, though.
I mean, science is science.
You eat half a kilo of steak.
It's half a kilo. That's very true. You know, nice tin of pineapple chunks before you get in the car, and you're sorted.
So actually some work going on the full motorsport car. The car that was went into the back of Anthony Beltoise.
Well, yeah. If Parc Fermé is open, then I suppose logically they're allowed to work on it if that's the way they've decided to do it.
Yeah.
Well, an interesting situation. Marcel Lenez is down at the BCMC Motorsport Garage. Gemma Scott is with Marcel.
Marcel, you're all smiles. Weekend starting well for you guys?
Yeah, it was quite okay. We were the best Mercedes on the grid on P13 today and on P10 tomorrow. So quite a good start in the weekend, yeah.
How difficult is it here to make your way through the field, to overtake and get up front?
Yeah, it's very difficult because AMG is one of the slowest cars on the straights. And in Monza we have much straights, yeah. And yeah, that's the biggest point for us to defend our position. But I think at the end of the race, when it comes to tire mileage, we are not that bad.
And which corners do you see as the most opportunity for overtaking?
Yeah, maybe the first one, because it's the hardest braking point. But also the last chicane, I think that's the 2 points where you can overtake. Okay.
So we need to watch out in this restart.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
Thank you very much, Marcel.
No problem.
I think that's a fair piece of advice. Watch out on this restart. I think there's going to be quite a few frenetic moments on this restart. We've said this before and we'll say it again. Red flags breed red flags, but we're kind of hoping. Bit of a shrug there from Gregory Gilbert, hoping to get started pretty quickly and hoping to go straight into a race-winning battle.
They were in a great battle, weren't they? Gilbert, Castellelli and Lariche, the three Audis, absolutely locked together before we went into that yellow flag procedure. And actually Benjamin Lariche was maybe slightly struggling in comparison to the other twos behind. He had made a great start, the ex-GT1 racer, but was getting swallowed up as others got themselves up to speed. And the front row sitting Aston Martin of Louis Merrick in fourth now, dropping behind those two. So Audi's definitely the car to have.
So Parc Fermé opens 10 minutes before green. I've now been given confirmation of that.
Okay.
So that tells us what's going on.
It's not what it says on the driver briefing notes.
No, it isn't. So we'll have to double check and, well, someone will know, but clearly it says it on the timing screen. So there we are.
Yeah.
There is Louis Merrick. The team dropped it back into fourth position. Still got a great chance to win this one, though, because you don't win the race in the first stint. You win it in the last 5 minutes.
What I'm surprised of is if they are able to do work then on the cars. We know that they're working on the full motorsport Audi to just patch up the hole that's appeared in the front of that car. we're not seeing very many teams kind of setting tyre pressures on that. I would have expected to, as soon as they could, with temperature still in the tyres, to give them a little bit of a tweak just to help for the remaining 10 minutes of this first stint. And then, of course, they won't be changing tyres in the pits. So there'll be another stint of race to go.
So the V8 Racing Chevrolet is down in pit lane. Gemma Scott is with the driver, Job Hageman.
Monty, great to see you back again with us once again on the GT4. The objective over the weekend is varied, you were just telling me. So today it's all about the points, right?
Yeah, we want to score as much points as possible, of course. But tomorrow we're starting third, so tomorrow we want to score a podium, hopefully a win. But now we have to score the good points.
Obviously, the championship seems to be just getting bigger and bigger. It's harder this year with the bigger grids, or it's just more of a challenge and more reason to push?
Yeah, it's more a challenge, so it's more fun, but it's also harder to. You need to stay out of the shit. Sorry, but if you get in the top 10, then it's easy. So you need to be in the top 10. Otherwise, you have a problem, I think.
We'll look forward to watching you tomorrow. Then starting from P3.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Dante Rapanga, apologies for those of you who had a word or so that was not to your liking, but obviously adrenaline's still running very hot indeed as they continue to battle away around the circuit. We're going to restart in 3 minutes' time, according to the note that we have got. So that's obviously going to be a very decent and very quick restart. But Audi all the way from Aston Martin. I'm interested to see what the McLaren in 6th position can do. Josh Rattican obviously getting a relatively good start, but there's only one car now in the mix. Jack Mitchell and Michael Kreis, their race already over with mechanical problems.
Yeah, and not a massively good place for tomorrow's race where Michael Kreis will start that car. So that's a real disappointment because with that row 3, row 4 start, and a real opportunity to kick off their season well, and some little technical fault, sadly, making their car grind to a halt. The Kenny Harriman's Camaro, by the way, 14th position before our restart.
So we will restart in 2 minutes. We will restart in 2 minutes.
That was nice and clear. Merci beaucoup. Alan Adam letting us know that the race is going to restart in 2 minutes' time. So an interesting situation then as we get ourselves ready for the restart, I should say, of the GT4 European Series at Monza.
Is there a little bit of work going on that Mercedes at the back as well? That would be the last car running. So that's Varva. So yeah, maybe they're just patching up a bit of damage. He didn't stop, did he, Varva?
No, he didn't. He's a lap down though,
yeah,
so he has lost a lap coming into the pits and I think going back out again. He's the only car that has it.
1 minute to go. Safety car, lights on, lights on.
There we go, lights on. Everybody needs to clear the grid now. The teams have already been cleared on the most part, certainly at the back of the grid. And now we're going to go racing once again. A few Spider-Men trying to climb back over the pit wall. Not the easiest thing to do. It's not like you get a lot of experience in doing it.
The old trolley rush in Formula One after when the cars left the grid.
Yes, indeed.
So the restart will be under safety car. They'll do 1, maybe 2 laps behind the safety car to get everything up to temperature and build the temperature and the speed, and then they will go back to green flag racing. At the moment, it looks as though we're not correcting our race time, so we are going to still have 45, 46 minutes worth of racing, although as soon as we go back to green flag,
safety car
racing, the clock will restart. So we're going to lose at least 1 or 2 minutes worth under this safety car procedure.
Yeah, I reckon we're probably going to lose about 3 minutes.
Safety car restart, safety car restart.
There we go, safety car restart. We are back under race conditions, although we are now under safety car procedure. And obviously only 1 car lost a lap. So it's all going to be tickety-boo and hunky-dory at that point. We're going to restart things in the GT4 European Series Race 1. My thanks to Ben Constanduras, who obviously has esports duty to go and disappear to down in the Fanatec Arena. For those of you who enjoy that, well, that is going to be coming up very soon indeed. But we've still got a motor race to conclude in the GT4 European Series. Race 1 going very well indeed for the Audis. Team Speedcar leading the way, CSA Racing Audi in second, the Santalog Junior team in third, Benjamin Lariche, Gael Castelli, and the leading Pro-Am car, Gregory Guilvert, in third position. Then it is the Mirage Aston of Louis Méric, the sister car for the Racing Spirit of Le Mans team. Victor Weyrich in fifth position. Josh Radican in the Elite Motorsport McLaren in sixth place. Antoine Leclerc in the Code Racing Development Alpine, and then Jamie Day in the Mirage Aston. The X-Swift Toyota of Antoine Poty is ninth, and in 10th position it is Michael Schrey in the Hofer Racing by Bonk BMW. Then in 11th, it is the Borusan Automotive BMW of Bechler Berquet, and then Marc De Fulgencio Vare in the BCMC Motorsport by Eastside Mercedes. Andreas Bachmann slipping to 13th in the Pro Sport Aston, the V8 Chevrolet of Kenny Hedemans, and then the Lonnie Martins Full Motorsport Audi in 15th. Podco Hub in the Autosport LS Group Alpine in front of the Santalok Junior Audi of Paul Petit. Noam Abramczyk in the Full Motorsport Audi number 45. The Pro-Am car is 18th, and then Laurent Hurgon in the Autosport GP Alpine in front of Enzo Juliet in the Borusan Automotive BMW. Final cars in the ranking: Racing Spirit of Le Mans Aston, Akhil Rabindra right up to 21st. They've absolutely shot through the field. The Overdrive Porsche of Stefan Postandiev in 22nd in front of Stanislav Safronov in the NM Racing Mercedes. The Allied Racing Porsche is ahead of its sister car, the 44 Pro-Am, ahead of the 22 Silver, Oscar Lind Christensen and Nathan Sharp. Mike Parisi in the AGS Aston, number 89, 26th. Julien Piguet in the AVR Avatar Porsche, 27th. Then Voisin Bailey in the GBA Aston. Rimendale Sart in the Mirage Aston, number 5. And then the two Sorg Rennsport Porsches of Ivan Akelchik and Ricardo Dort in front of Timothy Buret in the AGS Aston, the sister car of Julien Lambert. Florian Brich in the JSB Aston, and then the Code Racing Alpine of Sandro Perasutti, the Eastside Mercedes of Denis Bulutov. Kevin Jimenez in his GPA Aston Martin, the W&D Racing BMW of Massi Trosoldi, and then Fabian Bori in the Team Speed Car Audi number 83, the AM car, the Overdrive Porsche of Evalio Tolnev in the number 13, then Jean-Paul Domenici in the Chazelle Alpine. NM Racing's Philippe Vava is the last car running, and he is a lap down. Everybody else is out. Lawrence Stegman in the Team Spirit Aston, the NM Racing Mercedes of Luc Ibanez, the number 15, Alex Denning in the Newbridge Aston. All three cars coming together under the Monzanapolis Bridge. And then Jack Mitchell putting off on lap 3 with problems with the elite McLaren Artura. And then Anthony Beltoise coming off after contact with Lonnie Martin. The Santalok Junior Audi broken on the scene, and the Armada Racing Mercedes in a separate incident taking out Romain Monti. That gets you through the 48-car field, all the way through to the Parabolica. And is it going to be 1 lap under safety car, or is it going to be 2 laps under safety car? The answer is, it's going to be 2. So we go under safety car procedure, and it's going to be 2 laps around the course under safety car proceedings. Jake Sanson with you in the commentary box. Ben Constantiouris is now off on esports duty. Gemma Scott is still down in pit lane. And we are with you for the remaining 43 minutes of this race. And of course, the pit stop window is still to open. And they will have driver changes. So for those in the...
Safety car in this lap. Safety car in this lap.
There you go. Race director tells us that the safety car is in this lap. So that tells us everything we need to know. So the leaders, Benjamin Lariche, Gael Castelli and Gregory Guilvert, are now going to have another great scrap. Audi, 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 Aston Martin, McLaren in the top 6, with the Alpine, the Aston, the Toyota and the BMW in the top 10. The leading Porsche is way down in 22nd. The Sol Chevrolet is in 14th. And that is the only other pieces of information relevant. The leading Mercedes is actually in 12th. That is Marc De Fulgencio Fari, and in 12th position as well. So some interesting narratives to talk about there in the mix of this first GT4 European race. So a really exciting battle for all of the contenders as they continue around the course. And now we are going to go racing at the end of this lap. So we're going to have a really exciting restart. Is it all going to be all about the Audis, or can the Aston Martins of Louis Méric for Mirage and Victor Weyrich for Racing Spirit of Le Mans try and work their way further forward? What about the McLaren Artura of the Elite Motorsport with entire race engineering of Josh Ratigan? They're in 6th positions, sharing that car as he is with Tom Emsen. Pit stops are going to come. The driver changes will follow that. And the safety car is in at the end of this lap. Time to go racing again in the GT4 European Series, first race of the season. The clear-up jobs have been fantastic. Grazie mille tutti. to the orange army around the circuit, the marshals that keep us safe. We cannot go racing without them. They are an amazing band of men and women. The safety car lights have come off and the Audi safety car disappears. And so 3 Audis are left at the front of the field to warm up the tyres and brakes and get ready for the restart. Benjamin Lariche, Gaël Castelli and Gregory Gilbert. 3 different teams as well, Speed Car, CSA and Santalok Junior. It's all down to Benjamin Lariche as to when he decides to go for it. He has an initial run on the throttle, then backs out. Now he seems to have gone for it on the way to the Parabolica.
Green flag, green flag.
And there we go, the call from race director is green flag. Out of the final turn goes Benjamin Lariche. That is a great restart from the Speed Car Audi. And as we go onto the straight, it's green, 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 green here at Monza once again. Lariche, Castelli and the leading Pro-Am car of Gregory Gilbert. Down to the first corner, up to the Rettifilio. Looking for the braking point, just watching the cars in the background, trying to see if anybody is going to make a big lunge. A little bit of a defensive strategy from Radican to keep Antoine Leclerc in the Alpine at bay. Diving up the inside, that is Potti, defending from Schrey in the BMW. Everybody else keeping it very nice and tidy and keeping themselves to themselves. There is the 46 of Martin, who's already had his scalps in this race, battling away with Anthony Beltoise. Now trying to go around the outside of the Chevrolet of Kenny Heremans. The V8 Racing team having a good duel in this race. And down to the braking zone, Jamie Day trying to get close to the very small Alpine in front. Martin is going to launch in on Kenny Heremans. Heremans has got to let him go. There's a little bit of paint traded, but there could be a bit of a loss of position from the Alpine behind as well, as Cohap is trying to hold that position to ransom with Kenny Heremans in the Chevrolet in front, going all which ways of getting loose. Cohap is trying again on Kenny Heremans. Not going to happen on the way into Lesmo 2, but could get it nicely planted in time for a run at the Variante Ascari. Look at Lonnie Martin's car. That is very heavily exposed at the right front. But still, the race battles continue as they kick up the dust on the back straight on the run to the Variante Ascari. And up the inside, that's going to be Cohap going for his move on the inside of Kenny Heremans. Nice move, job done from the Alpine to get through into position and take the place away. Onto the back straight. Still they battle on, a good run as there is your leader, Benjamin Lariche, in front of Castelli and Gilbert. Eric and Wayrick still doing a good job in the Astons. Lonnie Martin, Cohap now in front of Kenny Heremans as we saw earlier on in the lap. Still dueling, still battling away, but they are now a little clearer as to who is running where, and it looks as though Cohap is going to try and make another bid, this time to get through on Lonnie Martin. So Paul Cohap in the Autosport Alpine going very well. Now down to the braking zone, Gaël Castelli trying to get Benjamin Lariche under pressure. Still stalemate between these 3 Audis. Lariche has not been able to pull away from Gaël Castelli. Castelli looking really strong in the CSA Audi. Silver, silver, Pro-Am, silver in the top 4 at the moment. 3 Audis and the Aston Martin Mirage. Sorry, yeah, it is the Mirage. Louis Merrick, the number 7 car. So Gilbert and Hamon are leading the Pro-Am Cup, but they are also looking at a potential run for the victory in the lead of the overall standings of this race. All they've got to do is pass the 2 Audi cars in front. Sounds easy. It is going to be tricky. But Gilbert in the number 42 Audi, running well in front of Antoine Leclerc in the Alpine and Noah Abramczyk in the Audi. This is the Pro-Am category only that we're looking at. So Gregory Gilbert leading the Pro-Am category in front of Antoine Leclerc and then Noam Abramczyk. Akil Rabindra in the Aston Martin is in 4th in front of Safronov in the Mercedes and Christensen in the Porsche. And then Parisi in the Aston Martin in front of the next car, which is quite a way back. That is Bulatov, 8th position. Brish and Vava are the only cars still running in the Pro-Am category. We've had 5 retirements, and we've had 6 retirements actually, my apologies. 5 of them have all come from the Pro-Am category. Denning, Stegman, Mitchell, Monty and Beltoise. So Antoine Leclerc is currently 2nd in the Pro-Am category. Here comes Castelli, again having a look at Lariche. Down at the braking zone. Lariche is having to defend in the inside of Parabolica. Castelli might get the switcheroo. Out of the final turn, Lariche is going to have to move to cover. This is the battle we wanted to see. The 3 Audis dueling away at the front of this race. And Gaël Castelli has another attempt here at Benjamin Lariche. And surely he's going to get the move down the main straight on slipstream. Side by side. There's a problem in the background as somebody's gone clean off the road there at Parabolica and rejoined. But Lariche is still trying to defend from Gael Castelli, who goes the long way round the outside. Castelli taking the lead. Brilliant run from the CSA Audi. Gael Castelli, full conviction, going wheel to wheel with Benjamin Lariche. You will not hold me back. I will take the lead. Excellent run. So still they continue to battle away. Down to the braking zone, Lariche is going to try again on Gael Castelli, just trying to swarm around and keep Gael Castelli guessing. Can he outfox him in the braking zone? Big curbage from Castelli and Lariche. Still they battle, but the three Audis have got through in one piece for the moment. Gregory Guilvert trying to get through on Lariche and Castelli. Fourth place for Louis Merrick in the Aston Martin from Mirage. And fifth place for Werrick in front of the British driver Josh Rattigan in the elite McLaren Artura. And in seventh place, that is Antoine Leclerc. No relation to either Charles or Arthur. But Antoine Leclerc running on the back straight in the Alpine. Desperately pushing hard to try and close up on the 6 cars in front and try and make a challenge. Antoine Leclerc currently second in the Pro-Am category, that Alpine. The pit window is now open. Here we go. So now we're going to see pit stops galore. As drivers will come in, they'll change driver. And this is where the race can be won and lost. Now remember the order as it is now. 3 Audis, 2 Astons, the McLaren, the Alpine, the Toyota and the BMW. Because Jamie Day has now dropped to 10th position. Not entirely sure how that's happened. But Jamie Day has dropped back. Gael Castelli coming out of the final bend. Is this going to be Benjamin Lariche going for the pits? It is indeed. So Lariche comes in straight away. They're going to try and get the undercut on the rest of the leaders up front. Everybody else going through. But Benjamin Lariche has had enough in the car. And also into the pits comes the number 2. That's Michael Schrey in the BMW. So Lariche comes in, so does Schrey. And here we go, the first driver change. So out of the car gets the number 3 of Benjamin Lariche, and he hands over to his teammate. That, of course, is Robert Consani. So Robert Consani will get behind the wheel, and also there's a change between Michael Schrey and Gabriele Piana. This is how we had the race lead change. Gael Castelli round the outside. How close was it to contact? Close, but no coconut. Very nicely done by Gael Castelli. Very nicely done indeed. 33.5 minutes on the clock, and Benjamin Lariche trying a new tactic. Right, if you're going to overtake me there and then, I'm going to come into the pits and change around. So the number 10 is coming to the pits as well. That is Julien Biguet into the pits to change for Alban Varuti. Voisin is in to change for Kai Sixnelis. Even a Kelchik has come into the pits to change over to Leon Duquer. And we've also got Trizoldi and Izunev in the pit lane on the first lap of the pit stop window being open as well. So that's a driver change. In we'll get Davide Meloni, and also into the car, the number 13, we will have Ivali Konev, the other Bulgarian. I think changing over to Joachim Bolting. So out onto the circuit then. There is the number 3, Robert Consani, going back out onto the circuit again. And it's time to push. He needs to get up to speed with these cold tyres. What about Gregory Guilvert, though? He's managed to catch up to Castelli, and there is a very staunch defence from Antoine Leclerc in front of the Modison Automotive BMW, Berke Bessler. Bessler's going to try and get up the inside of the Alpine. Well, they're not going to be pitting on this lap, are they? They're still door-to-door. Look at the size differentiation between the BMW and the Alpine. Still pushing hard. BMW trying to throw its weight around the Alpine, not running scared at all. Down to the braking zone, trying to edge Berke Bessler in the braking zone, and Antoine Leclerc lets him go. But that is the stark difference between the BMW and the Alpine. Big size difference and big authority difference as the BMW muscles in. No, back off, small fry. But the 36 of Antoine Leclerc has not given up yet, and they are second in class, don't forget. Now, this is getting interesting between the 2 Audis. This is Silva versus Pro-Am, CSA versus Santilok, Gael Castelli versus Gregory Guilvert. They can't afford to battle too hard amongst themselves, as we have more cars in pit road. Potti has come in the Toyota, Calharp in the Alpine, Lonnie Martin in the Audi, and Abramczyk and Petit in their Audis have come in. So Abramczyk hasn't, sorry, Petit has. Postantiev in the Porsche, and Nathan Sharp in his Porsche has come into the pits as well. So they're all going to drive a change. Here we go. Gregory Gilbert battling for position. This is the overall battle, but they're also both class leaders. Gilbert wants more than second overall, though. He wants to win outright. And Gael Castelli, having taken the lead beautifully ahead of Benjamin Lariche earlier, now has pressure from Gregory Gilbert. And they've got lapped cars in front of them to deal with very soon indeed. So this is going to get interesting. Here comes Gregory Gilbert. Down to the braking zone for the Parabolica. Come on then, man, is that all you've got, says Gael Castelli. I'm going to hold it and park it on the apex. Try and get me round the outside. You won't manage it. So out of the final turn, you've got to leave the pit in to the last possible moment if the pit window is going to be to your advantage. Gregory Gilbert trying again. Here we go. The Audis really are pulling clear now of the Astons. Josh Radican has come up to 4th position in McLaren. We've got drivers coming out of the pits. This could be very brave from Gregory Gilbert. Having a look, thinks better of it. There's a slow car in front of them. It's one of the speed car Audis as the field tries to work its way through without incident. Oh, that's a heart-in-mouth moment if ever I've seen one, as everybody just about gets out of that without contact. But still, these Audis duel away. Castelli and Gilbert, then Moric in the Aston Martin, Ratikin in the McLaren, Bessler in the BMW, and Antoine Leclerc in the Alpine. Into the chicane, left, right, but still Gregory Gilbert has a chance here. They've got slower traffic in front of them, and skating off the road behind them, that was the Audi rejoining. So that didn't quite go according to plan, but the leaders are getting held up here. This is exactly what the team at Speed Car wanted to see. The sister car is impeding the treble one. Not sure whether this is intentional or not, because they've obviously got their own race to battle with up front. But now Gregory Gilbert has a chance. The Santalok Junior Audi is going to take on the CSA car. Up to the braking zone for the Variante Ascari. They're going to be side by side, but they've got 2 slower cars in front. The Alpine gets out of the way just in the nick of time. But there is still a speed car Audi in the way. Come on, man, get out of the way. We're racing for the victory, says the race leader, Gael Castelli. Move over. And they're going to use, Gregory Gilbert's going to use the speed car Audi for slipstream to try and get closer to Gael Castelli in the braking zone for Parabolica. This is going to be brave, but the speed car doesn't move over to let the Santalok car through. That's really impeded them. Now they're going to have to come into the pits. They decide to bail. So, of course, they don't have to move out of the way, but they've decided not to. And that's obviously impeded several cars, the traffic there. So you've got Gilbert coming into the pits and bailing out. Bessler came in, Ratikin came in, and the finisher Antoine Leclerc came in as well. So did Andreas Bachmann to give the car over to Jessica. And also Juliet came into the pits as well. And that is to hand his car over to Yagis Gendik. So both Morrison Automotives coming into the pit at the same time. Now this is the car we need to be keeping an eye on, because that of course is Robert Consani in the number 3 speed car Audi. That was the first one to blink. And I have a feeling that by staying out, I think the other cars may have cost themselves dearly here, because I think Robert Consani, with a clear track in front of him, has managed to get a lot more speed out of this car. I think he might jump the gun and leapfrog past them when Gael Castelli comes into the pits. Not confirmed, of course. We'll have to wait and see how the pit stops play out. Now, there is an investigation that has already happened between the 88 and 44 cars. So that is Safronov in the Mercedes and Christensen in the Porsche. No further investigation necessary. Oh dear, punctured tyre for the Aston Martin. That is a lot of debris on the back straight on the run to Parabolica. So there is Gilbert's car coming out onto the circuit. It's green flag racing down to the first corner. I think actually Gilbert has leapfrogged past the speed car Audi, and they nearly overshoot trying to get closer to them. So battling with Gael Castelli has actually really benefited the race car from Santalok Junior Team. Gregory Gilbert has, of course, handed the car now over to Christophe Hamon. And the number 3 Audi is now being driven by Robert Consani. But the big significance there is that the Santalok Junior Team Audi has leapfrogged past the speed car Audi. Now these guys may have made up a bit of time as well. The number 2 BMW of Gabriele Piana. I think they may have made up quite a considerable amount of time in the pit stops. So obviously the pit stop times, you need to be in the 1 minute 20 mark. 1:19.8 for Piana, 1:19.2 for Tierman. Everybody else seems to have done a 1 minute 20 pit stop. There is the treble one of Gael Castelli, race leader, comes into the pits and hands the car over to Alexandre Cugnot. Underneath the Monzanapolis banking. This is effectively going to become the battle for the race lead. Look at how much ground Gabriele Piana has made up, but you could argue, well, the pit stop is meant to be in 1 minute 20, and they did theirs in 1:19.8. Tierman did his in 1:19.2. Look at the debris down the back straight. As running over it goes the BMW. Oh, it looks like the BMW, the Audi is in trouble there. No, the BMW is in trouble because they're under yellow flags. They were not allowed to make the overtake. So they had to bail out of it. Now here is Gael Castelli. They're on the main straight. We're still under racing conditions, don't forget. So here's Gael Castelli having handed over the car. Is he going to come back out onto the circuit with the lead intact? They're going to go side by side as now the change of position. The speed car Audi comes through and takes the place away from the Santalok Audi. And there is the Mirage Aston splitting them. Big gain then from the number 7 of Romain Carton. Romain Carton has now come out in second place in the Aston. Big change up. So now the Aston has split the Audis. So Romain Carton. Oh, big tank slapper from the Aston coming off of Curva Grande. And now down the inside into the Variante della Roccia. The Audi gets through. The Aston hasn't given up on it yet. But the Audi is there. Second position now for Robert Consani, who manages to work his way through into second place. Still a good battle here from Piana. And look at Tom Edgar, the young man from Northern Ireland. Tom Edgar doing a fantastic job in the Morrison Automotive BMW. Really trying to charge the car further forward. So this is going to get interesting. But everybody has now come through and made a pit stop. But there is, the car that stopped out on the circuit was the Racing Spirit of Le Mans car. That was Konstantin Lachenauer. So Lachenauer, unfortunately, retiring the car, with Weyrich having already taken the first stint. But that was the car that punctured on the way down the straight. Slippery oil flags are there in position. But this is the battle for the victory now. Stationary yellows, you can't make the overtake. Sorry, Gabriel, but you can't get through. So he's got to wait for his bid to battle for the victory. But all these cars are in the hunt for the victory. There is the Santalok Junior Audi, now in fourth position, running out a little bit deep. Here come the two BMWs chasing after it. This is Piana and Edgar. Tom Edgar fancies his chances here on Gabriel Piana. He's going to use the slipstream briefly of the Audi in front, but here comes the Boddison Automotive BMW side by side with Gabriel Piana. So Gabriele Piana going wheel to wheel with Tom Edgar. Edgar's got a good run. This is for the lead. Robert Consani diving up the inside and gets the place. Lovely job. So they may have lost ground initially, but the speed car Audi has come through, and now the Boddison Automotive BMW has got through on the Santalok Junior Audi. Christophe Hamon slips down to 6th position. It was great while it lasted, but I'm afraid they're now in P6. But what a comeback from Robert Consani. Consani has now got into the lead of the race in the speed car Audi in front of the CSA machine of Gael Castelli, who I think is still in that car actually, or at least it certainly says so on the timing screen. And we are under full course yellow.
Full course yellow now.
Yep, full course yellow is called. I think they just wanted to get the pit stops under as complete a position as possible, but there is so much debris.
Yes, TV?
So much debris on the back straight that they needed to take care of it. So Gael Castelli still battling to get this race won, but Robert Consani has now gone through. Great racing for the GT4s so far. And that's why we're under full course yellows. Look at all of that. The 74 Aston, the Racing Spirit of Le Mans car, has obviously got to be picked up and recovered, but then so has all this debris. That's all been sheared off the Aston Martin. So that's why we're under full course yellows. Well, there is a pit lane speed infraction for the number car 67. That is under investigation at the moment. Here's the replay of what happened when the tyre just let go. Oh. It just delaminates. There's not a lot that anyone can do about it. The Toyota was incredibly lucky not to be collected in it, but that is game over for Konstantin Lachinauer and Victor Weyrich. A lot of damage from that car that picked up a puncture, I think straight out of the pit lane pretty much. And there is what's left of the Aston Martin. They're going to have to do a lot of repair work today to get ready for the race tomorrow. So that's why we're under full course yellows. That car is now being recovered by the Marshall's team. It's not the only incident that we've had of late. It's so busy focusing on this lead battle between the Audis. But let's have a replay of the Toyota going around. A little bit of contact with the innocent-looking Alpine. I didn't do anything, officer. And I'm afraid the Toyota Supra has gone around, assisted by another competitor. And so nearly collects Bachmann in the Aston. Oh, straight in front of the Alpine, and way! That's a proper rodeo ride there for the Toyota. That wasn't quite according to plan, was it? So now the driver has been updated in the number treble 1. It is Alexandre Cugnot, as I thought it was. They just forgot to flick the switch by the look of it to signify the change of drivers. And still, the Lonnie Martin's Audi, which is currently being driven by his teammate. So Lonnie Martin was the one who found all of that damage. But now, of course, that car has been swapped around. That car is still carrying a lot of damage, but somehow they are still going. And that is quite impressive, actually. But Loic Villigier has now got behind the wheel of the Alpine. Alexander Hartwig has now got behind the wheel of the Porsche. Shelley is now behind the wheel of the Toyota, but he's dropping back. And the 55 Alpine, well, that is the legend. That is Alain Ferté in the Autosport Alpine number 55. So definitely a tricky day at the office then for the Audi of Lonnie Martin. He was the one who ploughed into the back of Anthony Beltoise, but it's now Sascha Bodeman that is behind the wheel, and he is in 19th place behind Oskar Lind Christensen in the Porsche and ahead of the number 10 Aviar Avatar Porsche, which is now being driven by Alban Varuti. So we've got a fascinating race once we restart. There is the car of Bodeman, which of course was driven initially by Lonnie Martin. Still going, still battered and bruised. But the GT4 European Series has got a great finish to come. I can sense it already as we gear ourselves up ready for another exciting duel. And the battles are still going strong. So still they progress. And this is going to be the race restart. And of course, because we're full course yellow, we don't have to wait for the safety car to come back in. Once the circuit is cleared, which it looks like it will be in a couple of minutes, then we can go racing straight away. So obviously that will be called by the race director, and then we'll just go racing wherever the leaders are on the track. That's the advantage of full course yellow over safety car. And what a battle for the win we've got. Look at it. 7 cars in the hunt for the victory on the restart. This is going to be an epic squabble to the flag. The speed car Audi of Robert Consani, the CSA Audi of Alexandre Cugnot, the Mirage Aston Martin of Romain Carton, the Hofer Racing by Bonk BMW of Gabriele Piana, the Borison Automotive Motorsport BMW of the young man from Northern Ireland, Tom Edgar, Christophe Amon in the Santadoc Junior Team Audi, the leading Pro-Am car, and then in 7th, Tom Emsen has got behind the wheel of the elite McLaren. He's a little way back from these 6, but obviously on the restart, he can catch them up pretty quickly. But this is going to be an amazing battle when we get going again. And in the background, don't count out the likes of Rory van der Steur, the American, and Yagiz Gedig in the Borison Automotive BMW in 9th. The leading Mercedes is in 10th position. That is Marc de Fulgencio Fari in the BCMC East Side Mercedes AMG. So there is the battered remains of the Racing Spirit of Le Mans Aston Martin. Rather sadly, Victor Weyrich and Konstantin Lachinauer out of the race. And they are the 7th retirement from this race, if you don't count the cars that didn't take the start. So there are 41 cars still circulating out of the 48 that started. And we've got 16 minutes to go. I think Robert Cansani is just waiting for the all clear. The marshals have obviously done a lot of work on this back straight to make sure we're all tickety-boo once again. 16 minutes left of racing. Place your bets. Who is it going to be that gets the race victory? So let's see how we go about things. There is an incident noted by the officials, and that is between cars 36 and 8. So that is, we'll double check on that. That is Loic Villigier in the Alpine and Etienne Shelley in the Toyota. We saw the replay of that, and there is the safety car out on the circuit.
Safety car deployed.
So yep, the safety car is deployed, and this is to get the drivers a chance to get the tyres better up to temperature because they can run at a faster speed behind the safety car. And also make sure it's fair on the restart. It gives us a real blast of a race as well because they can now close the pack right up and we get a roughly 12-minute sprint if we go racing this time around. And all I can say, without actually rubbing my hands together with glee, is bring it on. This is going to be a great finale to Saturday at Monza.
Safety car in this lap. Safety car in this lap.
And there you go, we get the command straight away. The safety car will be in this lap, so they'll only do one lap around the safety car. Oh, bring it on, baby. This is going to be great. Cansani, Cugnot, Carton, Piana, Edgar, Hamon and Emsen will lead the field around. And this is great news for the likes of Rory van der Steur and Jagiz Gedek, because they can now close up on the rest of the cars in front of them. And this can be an absolute rout. It can be a free-for-all. Lap 19 of the GT4 European Series Race 1. We're not quite going to get to 25 laps, I don't think. But I tell you what we are going to get. A grandstand finale if the racing gods are going to keep smiling on us the way they have. Lights have come on because we're losing the light here at Monza. It's definitely going to be an intriguing and exciting run to the end of the race battle. So what an exciting battle it is going to be for all of the contenders. So the safety car in this lap. So the contenders are having an exceptional run around the course here in GT4. The European Series first race of the season, and we're going to get a grandstand finish by the look of things as the Audis continue to renew their battle. Cansani, Cugnot, Carton, Piana, Edgar and Hamon, the top 6. 3 Audis, an Aston and 2 BMWs. The safety car is going to peel in at the end of this lap. We've got a Porsche running very slowly at the back of the grid. So we are getting ready for the restart of racing. The safety car's lights are off. Let's see if we can get up to speed nice and quickly. Robert Cansani looking to get a good restart here as they come off the turn, and we're going to have 13 minutes of no-holds-barred racing as they come off the final turn. The safety car peels in, and Robert Cansani has dropped the hammer, and we go racing.
Green flag.
Green, 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 green at Monza. Here we go. 12.5 minutes left of the GT4 European Series Race 1. And it looks as though Alexandre Cugnot has already got into the slipstream to try and close down on Robert Cansani and go for the lead instantly. Watch for Gabriele Piana as well, trying to go for third around the outside of the Aston. One's going to work, the other one might not. Gabriele Piana throws his elbows out and gets past the Aston. And I think Tom Edgar's going to get there as well. He does. He gets side by side with the Aston. And Romain Carton is going to try everything he can to keep the BMW at bay. Too late, Edgar's gone through. Audi, BMW, Aston Martin and Audi now. And there's still great battles to come. Chuck it up the inside and see what happens from the Santaloc Audi. Trying to go wheel to wheel with Romain Carton. Hamon had a go, but he's not able to finish the job. Here comes Tom Emsen in the McLaren. The elite McLaren Artura trying to get through on the inside line. The Mirage Aston is now dropping time like a stone as the Santaloc Audi and the elite McLaren are trying to find a way through. Gedek is there as well in the second of the Morrison Automotive BMWs. Tom Edgar is just one place away from the podium. What a start to his 2023 season that would be for the young man from Northern Ireland. There's your leader, Robert Consani, in the speed car Audi. Hold it together through Variante Ascari. As up the inside, that's the Mercedes making the bid to keep in front of the Alpine. Mark de Vigenziovane holding on in front of Simon Timan. Robert Consani coming right off the racing line. A little bit of puff of dust as the V8 Racing Chevrolet comes off just briefly. Gabriele Piana now going wheel to wheel with Alexandra Cugnot. Can they get there around the outside of the Parabolica? No, they're going to have to tuck back in. 10 minutes and 45 on the clock. A great switcheroo from Gabriele Piana. The BMW is going to go door to door. Watch for Tom Edgar. Watch for Tom Edgar. Fourth position. He's going to try to get past both of them. Can he do it double time? Oh, he's going to go for it. And he's going to get second as they run 3 wide. Tom Edgar gets into P2. Lovely move. The Ulsterman has got into second place. John Watson will be delighted. His fellow countryman has stormed from 4th to 2nd in one move. Magnificent. Tom Edgar in the BMW climbs to 2nd place now. 2nd in class, 2nd overall. Tom Edgar charges his way forward. What a run from the BMW driver. Cugnot in 3rd, Piana now in 4th. The BMW wants to get back on terms with the Audi. But what a late surge this is from the BMWs. Piana storming around all over the back of Alex Cugnot. I'm going to get him to make a mistake. I can get him to drop this. I can get him to make the mistake. Gabriele Piana, hungry, determined. Podium is on the march, he knows that. Christophe Ramon still looking good for the Pro-Am victory for the Santalok Junior Team Audi car. And the leading AM car is still looking good to be the Alpine of Alain Ferté. Up on the inside line, here's the move from Gabriele Piana. Oh, 2 wheels in the air, can he hold that? Somehow he's got it turned in. And he bounces around all over the shop on the exit of the Variante Ascari. Gabriele Piana somehow holds on to it in 3rd position. Now that could be a little bit of a track limits infringement maybe. But up on the inside comes the Aston. Here we go again from the Audi. Bit of a lock-up from Gabriele Piana. You've got to get that car turned in. But the leading 2 cars have already gone. Robert Consani and Tom Edgar are disappearing up the road. Now here is the Pro-Am leader. It is the Pro-Am leader, the Santalok Audi of Christophe Ramon. And he's trying to shake off Gedik in the Borisson Automotive BMW, the 2nd car. 8.5 minutes to go. Great racing in GT4. This is a proper motor race now, to the flag. Down on the inside, there goes the Borisson Automotive BMW, makes the place. No panic for Christophe Ramon. They're still looking good to lead the Pro-Am to the flag. But watch out for the McLaren behind, that's Tom Emsen. Trying to make his way through. Up on the inside line. Comes from a family of auctioneers. The current bid is 7th position. Do I hear any advance on 7th? Maybe 6th, maybe 5th. Certainly the McLaren looking strong, and Tom Emsen getting himself nicely planted. A little bit of a mistake from Christophe Ramon. I think we are going to go for 6th position. The McLaren's got to run. He thinks better of it. It's high risk. The Alpines are squabbling away with Jamie Day and Rory van der Steur in the Aston Martin. It's van der Steur who's behind the wheel at the moment, of course. But the Alpines are having a great squirm around there. That's Hartwig in the Porsche, and then Thurman and Villigier, who is looking at 2nd in Pro-Am. Alban Varuti has just taken the lead in the AM category, by the way. Alban Varuti in the AVR Avatar Porsche has now found the way past Alain Ferté in the Alpine. Davide Meloni still looking good for 3rd in class there. So this is a proper squabble. There's the 36, that's the Alpine of Villigier. They're looking good for 2nd in Pro-Am. But this is a really interesting battle. 7 minutes to go, and now the Santalok Junior Audi car has got a big challenge from Tom Emsen. Impatience. Up on the inside comes the McLaren. Are they going to get there? No, they're not, but wheel to wheel come the 2 Alpines. So where is the lead? 10 versus 55. This is Ferté in the Porsche. Ferté in the Alpine versus Varuti in the Porsche. They should be coming through the final turn. So Varuti is now your class leader, the number 10. And then look at Edgar, he's caught up. Edgar has caught up to Gonzani. This race isn't over yet for the win. The BMW's got proper pace. I asked him yesterday, what do you think we could do? He said, we might be able to get a podium. You might be able to get a win, Tom Edgar. He's all over the back of Robert Gonzani. And the Borusan Automotive BMW might just snatch this at the line. Fantastic work. The third position car, that is Gabriele Piana in the Hofer by Bonk BMW. Look at it, so evenly matched between Audi and BMW. Robert Gonzani versus Tom Edgar, having a great duel. Third place, Gabriele Piana, then Alex Cugnot. Mirage Aston still defending Romain Carton in front of Gedik, who is now up to 6th position. That is Yagiz Gedik, the Turkish driver in the Borusan Automotive car. Dueling away, this is Alpine versus Chevrolet. Whoa, bit of a wobble there from Rapanga. Rapanga trying to hold on in front of Saman Tiaman. In front of them, you've got Hartwig battling away with Van der Steur and Villigier. Well, Hartwig is actually on the back of the queue up the road. But Villigier thinks he's got a chance here on Van der Steur. Van der Steur trying to hold on. Side by side, that's for Di Fulgencio Fari and Hartwig. And now at the inside goes the Aston Martin. Van der Steur hanging on in front of Rapanga. There is the Toyota of Etienne Chili. And behind them is the leading car in the AM category. That is that Porsche there of Alban Veruti, the number 10. Coming towards us, down the back straight. Swarming around all over the shop. Herriman having a real squabble. Well, it's Rapanga in the car now, of course. So there is the leading car in the AM category, the AVR Avatar. So the Porsche still going strong. Alban Veruti behind the wheel, looking good for the AM Cup win. But what is happening up front? Edgar is only 0.3 of a second back now from Robert Gonzani. Breaking down to the chicane. No way! I genuinely thought they were going to do that. They have overshot, and Tom Edgar knows the score. He's got to give it back. But Tom Edgar was prepared to go for it. And now Gabriele Piana may fancy his chances. Right, you didn't make the corner. I'm going to get past you. No, you don't, says Tom Edgar. Piana's got a nose alongside, though. Tom Edgar's got a chance, but he's got to hold on. Gabriele Piana is determined. No, you don't. No, you don't. Tom Edgar holds on. Second place is still his for the moment. What about further back? Well, there's only one car, and there are two cars coming through. I think there was a slower car trying to get out of the way. That's what it was. But Tom Edgar got so close to the lead. Now you've got to get back on the horse. You've got to do it all over again. You've got to close up on Robert Gonzani one more time, but with Gabriele Piana in tow as well. This is so tight. Look, he's in 4th. That's Gedik. So Yagiz Gedik has come up into 4th position. The BMWs are tripping each other up in their bid to go and win this race. The Audi might just get licensed to win it by virtue of the fact that they can't avoid squabbling amongst themselves. They've got so much pace. Now, that is not the racetrack, Gabriele. I should point that out. That was definitely more sausage curve than it was racetrack. But is there still time? Is there still time for Tom Edgar or Gabriele Piana in the BMW to go for the move? As on the grass, trying to get the overtaking move. That's Alexander Hartwig in the Porsche, charging his way through on a late surge. In the Allied Racing Porsche, around the outside of the Santalok Audi. Really, Alex? Can you do that? Of course I can. Look at him go around the outside of the Parabolica. Magnificent. Alex Hartwig round the outside of the Parabolica in the Allied Porsche, and now they've got Marc Di Fulgencio Fari in the leading Mercedes trying to take into this battle as well. But Hartwig hasn't got the pace in the same straight line as the Santalok Audi, so now he's got to outbrake them into the Rettifilio. Go on, go on. The Mercedes trying to cut in on the inside as well. And young Alexander Hartwig is going to have to try again, but he's also going to hold off the Mercedes, which got a better run off the turn. Loic Villigier is closing up as well. He's in 11th position now and second in the Pro-Am Cup. They could catch and pass the Santalok Audi in front of them. Look, there's nothing in it. The Pro-Am victory is still up for grabs, and Loic Villigier believes the Alpine can do it. So we've got a battle for the victory in Silver. We've got a battle for the victory in Pro-Am. We've already had the battle for the victory in the AM, I'm afraid. That's gone and done. But look at that. Hammer in the Santalok, and 2 cars back, there is the Alpine of Villigier. This win is still on for Pro-Am. It's not over yet. And Alexander Hartwig getting the overtaking move could help the battle. Hartwig tries. No, you don't. I've got the lead in the Pro-Am category. I'm not about to lose it. What a battle. This is what GT4 racing is all about. This is what it was designed for. Loic Villigere now going to hunt down Marc de Fulgencio-Fari. Here comes Hartvig diving up the inside of the Porsche. Now you've got to resist. Hartvig gets through in the Variante Ascari. Danger zone time for Christophe Hamon. He knows that that is Loic Villigere in the Alpine, trying to storm up behind him. The BMWs are chipping away at Robert Consani in front. Consani's trying to drop the hammer in the closing stages and give the win to Audi. But here comes Loic Villigere. The car in front of him is now the car he's battling with in Pro-Am. He's going to try and tuck it around the outside of the Mercedes. Careful. The Mercedes is now on the inside of the Santalog Audi. And now the Alpine's got the slipstream. Here we go. Last lap begins. And Loic Villigere is going to go wheel to wheel with the Audi Santalog. They're going to pull level and go through. But now there's the acceleration of the Audi. Watch for the V8 Chevrolet. Someone's got to put the brakes on. They're going to bang wheels. Oh, 3 wide and they bang doors. How did they all get through? Villigere overshoots, but you've got to concede. You've gained an advantage by cutting the chicane. Damage to the Chevrolet, but Loic Villigere is not giving the place back. Damage to the Chevrolet. That is problems for Rapanga. The Santalog Audi going wheel to wheel with the Alpine again. Down to the braking zone. The Alpine hangs on. He should be giving back the place. That could get investigated later. But the Alpine has got the lead for now. Loic Villigere now making the move on the inside of Marc de Fulgencio-Fari. And the Santalog Audi crew will be livid. Didn't he overtake us by going off the road? They'll certainly argue it. Well, this is absolutely astonishing. Great racing at Monza, right to the finish line. We're on the final lap. Tom Edgar and Gabriele Piano are doing everything they can to close up on Robert Consani, who just set a personal best lap of that car in this race in the Speed Car Audi. But this isn't over. They've still got the run to the Parabolica. Can the BMW get close enough? They're doing everything they can. Here we are. 2 battles, 1 for first, 1 for fourth. Cunha has got past Kerik in the BMW. They're going to try. They gave it a good go. Tom Edgar almost had the win. But Robert Consani is going to bring the Speed Car Audi out of the final turn, and they're going to make it to the line. What a battle. What a great race to start the season in GT4. It's the Speed Car Audi that gets the win here at Monza from the 2 BMWs of the Borisson Automotive number 12 and the Hoffer Racing by Bock number 2. And it's, for the moment, Loic Villigere that gets the Alpine across the line in first position to win the Pro-Am category for Code Racing Alpine, ahead of the Santalog Audi. And the winners in AM are the AVR Avatar Porsche of Alban Veruti. And you can hear the crowd cheering and whooping. They know they have ended their Saturday with world-class motorsport, world-class racecraft. What a brilliant, brilliant race. After a day that's been frustrated by safety cars and stoppages, including in this race, don't forget, what a way to end it. That was a pure, proper, thoroughbred, classic motor race. Excellent from Robert Consani. Incident involving cars 36 and 8 under investigation. That is the Alpine and the X-Swift Toyota, don't forget, because they are still under investigation for that earlier incident. But there you go, the silver winners and the overall winners. The Speed Car Audi, there is Benjamin. Very happy indeed with his performance today. What a great performance from Benjamin Lariche as he takes the victory. Speed Car Audi are jubilant. Alpine are jubilant as well. But how long will that jubilation last? Because they're under investigation for at least 1, possibly 2 separate incidents. Contact between 84 and 92 at turn 1, no investigation, we are told. So that is between the cars numbers 84 and 92. I just want to try and tidy that up at the very end of the race there. What an amazing battle. We're going to get to see that duel for the Pro-Am victory one more time, because that was absolutely brilliant. Look at it, banging doors, 3 cars absolutely skating around, and then the Alpine thinks, right, I can't get through. So I'll do it off the chicane. And they didn't give the place back. Well, that'll be interesting later. Watch this space. Make sure you are watching the GT4 European Series website for the updates, because I don't think this is done yet somehow. But for the moment, it's Alpine, Audi and Porsche in Pro-Am. Loic Villigière in front of Christophe Hamon. And the 44 car in third position in Pro-Am. That is Jordan Wallace in the Allied Porsche. Only the podium runners are going to make their way back to the grid. Take a bow, Tom Edgar. What a little dancer he has been today in second position. What a drive from the Borisson Automotive BMW, and also from Gabriele Biana, who was airborne quite a few times hopping over those curbs. But what a race, what a grandstand finish. That was worthy of the Temple of Speed. Grazie mille tutti. Thank you very much, everyone. What a great race. That's going to be talked about all night here at Monza. Wasn't the GT4 race good? No. Wasn't the GT4 race epic? Amazing. Absolutely brilliant. So it's an all-German affair in the top 5 manufacturers across the line. Audi, BMW, BMW, Audi and BMW. Let the party begin. Break out the whoppers. A very happy Robert Consani. That was determination. So Benjamin Lariche and Robert Consani are going to be there for the victory. Gemma Scott is down there to speak to Benjamin and Robert.
Well, a fantastic result. Still the celebrations. If we just come and head over this way, we can grab a word with Benjamin. Fantastic result. So happy.
Yeah, so happy. It was a very nervous race because Tour, it was impossible to lose a gap between the guy behind us. And it was mentally, it was a big challenge, and we're happy to start the season like this. So thanks to the team, because we had a perfect setup, and we dominate the meeting since Friday. So with the good pace in free practice and pole position, and now the first win. So it's a perfect result for us, and thanks to the team. Thanks to Robert, we'll be strong pace and a strong stint, and yes, we're happy.
Well, I think you set the tone for the rest of the season and the weekend. That was hard work. C'était un peu dur, non?
It's too difficult because normally I'm start already on the end of the grid. Benjamin give me the car in the leader. On the pit, I think you don't have the best strategy, but not bad. And for finish, I need to retenir the guy back, and it's very difficult.
Very hard. And the momentum of the race with the red flags and the safety cars.
All the time it's difficult to take the good setup.
Of course. But you did a great job. Congratulations and well done. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, gentlemen. Benjamin Lariche and Robert Consani entertained us royally here at Monza. Absolutely fantastic performance. I wonder if we can hear from one of the stars of the race, Tom Edgar and Berke Bessler, his teammate in the Borisson Automotive BMW. Gemma Scott is there still, and this will be fascinating. I'm so delighted for young Tom Edgar. But let's see how Tom and Berke call the race.
That was an impressive drive for second place there, boys. Berke, we'll come to you first. You took the first stint. It wasn't easy. It was a very stop-start.
Yeah, it was a really hard first stint, but I managed very well. We started P19, actually P20. Then we came to, I think, P5 or P6, something like that. Then Tom got the car and did his job, and we got the podium for the first race.
Tom, you pushed so hard, and right until the very end. We almost thought you were going to get that first place.
Yeah, obviously, I give it my all, but today just wasn't quite good enough to get us the win today. But I can't thank everyone in the team enough. Borisson have done a great job to put me in this position, and just look forward to tomorrow.
Go and enjoy that podium. Congratulations.
He's come a long way from the world of the Miami karting scene as Tom Edgar. What a superb young charge from Northern Ireland. What a superb performance. It was a really good run from Tom Edgar. For me, the driver of the race. I don't mind saying that. It's always hard to pick out one superstar talent above everybody else. But I'm going to give it to Tom Edgar. What a charge. What an absolute stalwart to try and rocket his way through the field. Like the missile in Mario Kart, just storming his way past cars and making his way up to the front end of the field. Really, really impressive to observe. And a great performance from Tom Edgar. So we're going to stick around, of course, for the podium. And it's going to be quite the celebration up there on the rostrum. But there is more to hear. Obviously, we've got the winners from the AM category, Julien Piguet and Albin Verruti, who did a fantastic job in the AVR Avatar Porsche. They are the AM winners. What a great result for them.
I think this race is going to go down in history. There was so much going on there.
It was fantastic. It took a start, like we start 42, something like that.
41.
41. It took an amazing start. He did an amazing job, and then I finished quite well because I think that we win and we are overall quite in a nice position, so it's good.
You know, talk us through that starting stint that you did there to get it so far up the grid.
Yes. I did some mistake in my qualifying, and the nice story continue after the French Championship. Now in Europe, first victory with Albon. We are very happy. Thank you. The team was very strong. And very good start, very helped by Julian, who tell me in the radio, green, and I push a lot, and I overtake many cars, even the turn one.
Well, fantastic, félicitations.
That's why the motorsport is the team. Okay, it's not drivers, it's all the team. They are there.
Yeah, bonne équipe.
Yes, thank you.
Félicitations.
Well said, well said. What a brilliant race that was to finish us up. So let's wrap it up. The speed car Audi taking the victory just in front of the BMWs of Podium Automotive and the Hofer Racing by Montcar. Less than a second covered the three cars at the flag. Then we had Gael Castelli and Alexandre Cugnot in the Audi from CSA Racing. And then the Podium Automotive second car in fifth, the Mirage Aston, the Elite Motorsport McLaren in seventh place on debut, and the Allied Porsche of Alex Hartwig. For the moment, the Pro-Am victory goes the way of the Code Alpine car, ahead of the Santalok Junior car that was 11th over the line. That may be debated post-flag. And the AVR Avatar Porsche of Albin Verruti and Julien Piguet take the victory in the AM category. Some great performances all the way through the field. Some notable names. The Pro Sport Aston didn't really quite get off the grid in the end, did it? They slumped to 17th, but good work anyway from Andreas Bachmann and Jessica Bachmann. The Toyota of Antoine Potti and Etienne Chilly in there in the top 20 as well. And the victory in the end for the AM category, slipping away from the Alpine of Laurent Hergon and Alain Ferté, but they did come home in second, and Fabien Bory and Hugo Roch in their Audi got the third spot on that podium. A very tough race, as you can see. 40 cars making the flag. None of the others did. We had some Flotsam and Jetsam. 4 Aston Martins, in fact, didn't make the flag. And we had a race that was interrupted by a red flag. Lambert and Ricci out, Weyrick and Lachenauer out, Stegman and Lundstrass, Ibanez and Papadopoulos, and Denning and Topham, the cause of the red flag. And we also had a McLaren retire with mechanical problems. Beltoise was punted off on the second lap, unfortunately, by the Audi from Speedcar, and Monty in the Mercedes having a problem. What a fantastic race it has been here at the Autodromo Nazionale Monza. The first race of 2023 has been stupendous. How do you get better than that in race 2? The highlights from the GT4 European Series season opener here at the Autodromo Nazionale Monza. Right from the start, we had battles galore amongst the Audis and the Aston Martins, but we thought it was going to be pretty straightforward. It was anything but. A relatively decent start for the Audis, but then we had several cars avoiding action. Relatively clean though in the midfield, but then bang, the first big incident. Lonnie Martin going into the back of Anthony Beltoise, the latter out of the race there and then. Then we had the McLaren breakdown, full course yellow as a result. and then a big accident, which brought out the red flags. 3 cars eliminated, 2 Astons and 1 Mercedes. On the restart, CSA launched their bid to get past Speed Car and managed to do so in the Rettifilio chicane. Audi battling 1, 2 and 3 up until the pit stop window, and we thought that Speed Car were going to go for the undercut manoeuvre and try and gain some time. They managed to go for the move for the lead into the Rettifilio, taking on the CSA. But the big cars that were coming through were the BMWs. Both the number 2 and the number 12 were on the charge for Gabriele Piana and Tom Edgar. Big problems for the Aston Martin from the team Spirit of Le Mans. Big puncture, big problems. Tom Edgar so nearly taking the lead away from the Speed Car Audi in the closing stages. Tom Edgar having to concede and just about hang on to second place in front of the sister BMW of the sister car. Then the battle for the Pro-Am victory going down to the last lap. Loic Villigière managing to sneak through for the win. We don't know whether that's a legal move or not yet. But what a victory for the Speed Car Audi ahead of the BMWs from Bodison Automotive and, of course, the team from Hofer by Bonk. And a second covering the top 3 cars at the flag. That is how to go motor racing at Monza. So all the cars that you see out on the circuit now are the marshals and officials clearing the circuit, having been out all day. Fair play to all of them. We couldn't have raced at all without them. They've been absolutely fantastic here at Monza. And that was just day 2 of the on-track action. We get to do it all again for day 3 tomorrow. And there's more great action from the Fanatec GT2 European Series, the GT4 European Series, the Clio Cup Series of Europe, and of course, the Fanatec GT World Challenge Europe, powered by AWS in the Endurance Cup. I cannot wait for tomorrow. It's going to be biblically good. What a way to start the year, eh? GT4 European Series at Monza. We couldn't have asked for a better race, really. We've still got plenty of people who want to see this podium ceremony because there are going to be 3 classes of the podium, of course. We'll get to see the podium in Pro-Am, we'll get to see the podium in Am, and we'll also get to see it in silver. So it's definitely going to be a fabulous end to Saturday. Monza really has given us a race worthy of the title, Temple of Speed. So here we come. It's podium time at Monza.
Let's begin with Podium Pro-Am. At the third place we find Allied Racing, Oscar Christensen and Jordan Wallace.
So on to the podium we come then. And I believe this is the Am podium that we are doing first of all. So obviously a great performance in the Am category, as we had
And the first place is for Code Racing Development, Antoine Leclerc.
we have the Pro-Am podium first of all, I do believe, actually. My apologies. So obviously we get to see the Allied Racing Porsche crew in third, the Santalog Junior Audi of second, and then we have the Code Racing Alpine next up. So for the moment, the Code Racing Alpine are on the top step of the podium. Whether they'll be allowed to stay there or not, we don't know. So a very exciting podium then, as we are going to ask the commercial motorsport for Pirelli, Lydia Mariani, to come forward and give the trophies to the competitors on the podium. In third position then, the Allied Racing Porsche duo of Oscar Christensen and Jordan Wallace. In second, the crew from the Santalog Junior Audi team of Christophe Hamon and Gregory Guilbert. And the winning crew, for the time being at least, the Code Racing Alpine car, the number 36, of Loic Villigière and Antoine Leclerc. A fabulous race battle. We know for a fact that the Alpine is under investigation for a separate incident other than the one on the last lap. But obviously the competitors are going to, well, I think the Allied Porsche team wanted to celebrate on the podium with champagne, but they saw the other 2 crews walk away with their bottles and went, nah, we'll leave it for later. So now we move on to the podium ceremony for the silver category. And this is for the 3 cars that are overall, of course, after what has been a truly sensational battle out on the course. The 3 cars covered by less than a second at the flag. What a terrific duel it was. And the first crew we're going to get to see is the crew from the GT4 Racing by Bonk Motorsport team in their BMW M4 GT4 G82 for the German Michael Schrey and the Italian Gabriele Piana. So there we are, Michael Schrey and Gabriele Piana making their way to the podium, having had a fabulous performance in the car. Where are they? They've been announced. There's a round of applause. But the drivers have decided to come late to the party. They just want a second introduction, don't they? That's what they want.
Okay, the second place is for Motorsport.
So now they make their way out. They're a little bit late, but they will make their way to the podium. But how about this? The Borusan Automotive Motorsport team. Second position in fantastic fashion for Berke Bessler and Tom Edgar. What a great result for this crew in second place. But for the Speed Car Audi team, a clinical display for Benjamin Lariche and Robert Canzani. It was going to be tough all the way, but they will climb to the top of the podium, and in deserving fashion too. What a great result.
And so now it's time for the anthem for the winning team.
So the trophies are going to be presented by the coordinator of the ACI Milano Sporting Committee, Signor Marco Goldani. And he will hand the trophies firstly to the crew from GT4 Racing by Bonk Motorsport, Michael Schrey and Gabriele Piana. Secondly to Berke Bessler and Tom Edgar. And then finally to the winners on the top of the rostrum, Robert Canzani and Benjamin Lariche.
Also for the rookie.
They will also give the rookie trophy
So it's time to lift up your trophy for
onto the podium as well.
this weekend at this podium.
So fabulous performance. I think that's the elite boys, isn't it? Yes, it is. Josh Ratican and Tom Emsen. What a great day at the office for them. The rookie trophy on their debut. Not a bad return for the efforts for the elite motorsport McLaren Artura squad. A fabulous run from Josh Ratican and Tom Emsen, and they are having a bit of a party on the podium, I can see. As now it is time to get busy with the fizzy from Monza. Fabulous display, great performance, and a great party time. So as Benjamin Lariche and Robert Canzani soak up the spoils, there is just one more podium ceremony to conduct, and that is the podium ceremony for the AM category. A great battle all the way to the flag. And a great result that we had a bit of a change up in the closing 10 minutes as well. It was great to see that the race went down to the wire in all 3 categories. Excellent. So just the final podium ceremony, which is the AM category. And great to see these guys make their way to the podium. Speed Car Audi get a second trophy. It'll be Fabien Bourri and Hugo Roche that make their way to the podium in third position. A great run for the Speed Car Audi team in the sister car. They won the race overall for Robert Canzani and Benjamin Lariche. They also came third in the AM category for Hugo Roche and Fabien Bourri. Second place in the AM category, it is the 55 Autosport Alpine of Laurent Regon and Alain Ferté. What a great result for these two. Great to see them still going strong. And on the top spot, in 15th overall, very impressive, from Julien Piguet and Albin Verruti, the winners of the AM category. And it's a great end to the race for the team from AVR Avatar Porsche on the top step of the podium in the AM category here at Monza. And there we are, a fabulous end for the three French crews. The national anthem, La Marseillaise, effectively going on for all of them. Lydia Mariani returns to the podium, the commercial motorsport director of Pirelli. And there we are, all three French crews get to lift the trophies on the podium, but the victors in valiant style, Julien Piguet and Albin Verruti. What a great way to conclude here at Monza. It's been a fantastic day at the races in the GT4 European Series. We hope you've enjoyed the coverage. Gemma Scott down in pit lane. Ben Constanduros beside myself, Jake Sanson, for this first race of the season. And guess what, folks? We get to do it all over again tomorrow. A great end to the first race of the season in the GT4 European Series 2023 at the Autodromo Nazionale Monza. If you didn't enjoy it as much as I do, I don't think you were watching the same motor race. It really was a fabulous kickoff to the season, which is just going to keep getting better as the season progresses. We finish up here on Saturday in dry conditions. Tomorrow is set to be wet and very changeable indeed. I hope you've got your brollies if you're here at the circuit. If you haven't, I hope you've got a decent seat to watch it all from, because whatever your plans are for tomorrow, cancel them. You're going to be in for some great motorsport right here at the Autodromo Nazionale Monza. We return tomorrow. See you then.